Do homeowners care about shingle brands?
Shingle brands mean absolutely nothing to most homeowners. And, that if you're a contractor should be freeing and empowering.
What do you instruct roofers to really focus on to get more deals?
I think sales has always been sort of this feature benefit thing, right? Like that's how you sell, right? I learn about my company and I can sell our features and I can sell the benefits of those things. Feature plus benefit equals value.
Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown. This is the Hope Better Leads podcast. And today I have the pleasure of having on Stan Bastek from Atlas. How you doing, Stan?
I'm doing great, Tim. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. You were just telling me how you've been at Atlas for a long time. How many years and why one employer for that long? It's not that often you see that these days.
Yeah, I have been at Atlas 16 years now. So in some ways it feels like it's been a long time. In other ways it feels like a blur. But it's been a fantastic ride, and I would say it may not be as common anymore, but it is pretty common at Atlas. I would tell you, our management team, there's a lot of tenure in this group because it's a great culture. It's a privately held company. People have a feeling of ownership, and there's no shortage of new challenges in this industry, generally speaking. So if you find a place that allows you to go break some eggs, so to speak, then you really cling on that and hang on to it as long as you can. And Atlas rewards longevity and talent, right? And so people that really want to put the effort in and have some talent, and people that are willing to commit, do really well here. And there's a ton of examples of that at Atlas. So we lose people for sure, but I think there's something maybe that isn't as common in this day and age for sure.
Breaking eggs. I will be real, like that's honestly so important to me. If I was employed by somebody, I would need that so badly. Like, and ultimately, one little side note, let your marketing people break eggs.
Yes.
Like, it's so hard to market if you're like tiptoeing around. Like,
Yeah.
it's not easy to put out enough content on the internet. And
Yes.
you got to be a little bit, you got to let it flow and relax a little bit. Marketing is different and weird and hard. You got to let it be a little bit more organic. Today we're talking about, do homeowners care about shingle brands? So, from your point of view, Stan, give me your 1 minute on, do homeowners care about shingle brands?
Yeah, I would tell you that shingle brands mean absolutely nothing to most homeowners. And, that if you're a contractor should be freeing and empowering, right? Like at the end of the day, you don't buy a brand because you have some great sense of loyalty or knowledge about it as a homeowner, because you probably don't buy a roof but maybe once or twice in your life, and so there's a perception within the industry by contractors and distributors that certain name brands are very well known brands, and that's true within the industry. But when you get to the counter, sitting in the kitchen with the homeowner, they don't know the brands. They only know what you bring in. They care about what your recommendation is. And this is backed up by data. 3M does a survey every year, every 2 years, of people that recently bought a roof, right? So these are people that should be very fresh in their mind, and upwards of 70% of people that bought a roof within the prior year had no idea what shingle brand was on their roof.
Yeah.
So, that even the people that are fresh into that purchase situation don't know. And I think what that tells me is shingle brands don't matter, but can they complement? Absolutely, right? But you shouldn't
Yeah.
build your business on a shingle brand.
Yeah, I always like, I'm talking to like somebody outside of the roofing industry a little bit, and I'll just mention something casually, and I'll say the biggest
Yeah,
brand or the first couple, right?
yeah,
And they'll just be like, "Huh? Oh, it's a shingle brand," and I forget because it's
yeah,
like it's McDonald's to
yeah,
us, right?
yeah.
Like, because we're in it,
Yeah.
and why it matters is you have to correctly attribute value to things in your arsenal.
Yeah.
Right? If you have an inflated idea of what the value is of something, you're going to pitch weird.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you're gonna make it feel like they're like, I don't care about that. Like,
Right.
and they probably care more about you, like Stan's saying. They probably care about you and your ability to deliver and your trustworthiness.
Yes.
And would you do this on your home
Yeah.
than they do any particular brand? Okay, so you guys are out there. You're on an event tour right now.
Yeah.
You're teaching folks about sales. So I'm going to ask some sales questions. We'll get back to some of the Shingle brand discussion as well. But we were just talking about, I kind of brought up the idea of selling benefits rather than features. And you're like, that's something we don't suggest people focus on. So instead of focusing on benefits or features, what do you instruct roofers to really focus on to get more deals?
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing because I think sales has always been sort of this feature benefit thing, right? Like that's how you sell, right? I learn the brochures and I learn about my company and I can sell our features and I can sell the benefits of those things. And I think what we really tried to change over the last 10 years within our own company and then in turn how we approach contractors is none of that means anything if you can't attribute that to value. And value is another thing that gets overused because people don't think about what the real true base level definition of value is, which is there has to be some monetary benefit, okay, to what you're selling, right? So feature plus benefit equals value. And really where that relates to the contractor is your price, whatever you quote, okay, I'm going to hope and assume you've put in all of your overhead and your ideal profit and what you think you're worth, right? And then you put that price out there and then inevitably it gets beat up, right? Because a homeowner will get multiple quotes and they'll say, you know what, I liked a lot of what you had to say, but you were a little bit high. And really what that tells you is you didn't bake enough value into that. And so there's lots of ways to look at that, right? You can look at that with value in the products that you're offering. You can look at that with value in the workmanship warranty that you offer, maybe with a service agreement that you provide. But have you convinced the homeowner that your price is worth it, that it's worth all of what you sold them? That's really where value comes in. And if you take it even a step further than that, it's urgency that actually gets someone to take action, right?
Yeah, I'm always perked up whenever I hear urgency because and people get weirded out with that because they sometimes think it means pushy.
No, yeah, it
And
doesn't.
but the other thing is like I come from the Grant Cardone School of Sales, which is like it's like ultimately if you don't get the deal done, you will not be able to provide value. Like it's not valuable. It's not even really any value until you actually deliver something.
Right.
And so I think it's a really, really good and important thing. But how is it different from being pushy?
Yeah, I think pushy is I can't leave here until I sign on the dotted line. What's it going to take, right? It's putting all the pressure back on the homeowner, okay? And nobody likes to feel pressured, right? You know, so urgency is different in that you're addressing a fear, right? So urgency is saying, okay, one example is affordability. Affordability is an urgency issue, right? If somebody doesn't have the money to pay for something, they rarely will tell you that, right? Because there's an embarrassment about that, right? So, one of the things that contractors can do to create urgency is building into their sales pitch this idea that we're going to make this process and this really big project that you may be worried about how you're going to pay for it affordable. Here's how we can do that. If you've saved up for this and you've got cash or check, we'll certainly take that. If you'd like to put this on your credit card, no problem. We're happy to take a credit card. Or if you need a flexible monthly payment option, we've also got that option available to you. So I'm
Can I
not
do
here to
hey, can I
push.
do a little behind the scenes for a second? Just
Yeah.
curious. Like you and like there's other like let's say distributors and stuff like that. We always have like lots of sales coaches at the top. Like why is it just like behind the scenes real quick? Why is it that that's the focus? Sales. Like is it just because then if your guys are selling more, that's more shingles sold? Is that the main reason that that's
Yeah,
the
no
main focus?
question. I mean,
Yeah.
our job is to help the contractors that bring an Atlas sample board in be the most successful they can be. I want the contractors that we've partnered with
Yeah.
to beat the contractors that my competition is partnered with
I
at the end
like
of the
that.
day.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question about it. I don't want there to be some perceived ulterior motive. Of course,
No, I
sales
like that. That's
empowerment
good.
is all about all of us winning. And that's why we focus so much on value, because I have margin expectations that are delivered to me by my boss in the same
Hmm.
way that as a business owner or a sales manager or a sales rep for a contracting company, you have certain margin objectives and you should get paid more if you sell at a higher price, right? So I think that's really important to all of us, is if we all can find a way to build more value into the sales process, the entire channel benefits from that.
Yeah. I have a couple other side notes before we get back to the main
Yep.
topic. First of all, you look famous for some reason. Do you have a famous relative or something?
No, I do not have a famous relative, but I'm flattered. I have a
No.
dream of someday replacing Drew Carey as the Price is Right host. So, if I've got a good face, I've got a chance, right?
I mean, I'm serious. I think like people, yeah, whatever direction he is, I guess. I guess it's not even a direction because it's one or the other showing at any one time. Anyways, the point is, you look famous. Comment below who he looks like because I don't know. I can't figure out who he looks like, but he definitely looks like somebody very famous. And I thought you were maybe like a famous spokesperson or something. Maybe I've just been in roofing that long now that like roofing people are
Yeah.
just famous to me. That's
That's right.
like,
Hey, you know what? When I see people face to face that I see on videos on Facebook
yeah,
and all that stuff, I'm like, oh, look at that. Yeah,
yeah,
we're roofing famous, is what we
yeah,
are.
exactly, exactly. Roofing famous. Um, and the next, I guess I wanted to just see if there's anything else on the urgency thing before I move on to my other topic.
Yeah, I think the key to remember with urgency is just not being worried that you're being pushy if you show homeowners a reason to buy now, right? And so the other thing I think that works well with that is giving them options, right? So you may have a premium option, you may have a middleweight option, and then maybe you have a repair option, right? If you can give homeowners options, they are going to feel like you're more credible because you're looking out for them.
Yep.
And I think that's another thing is repairs are just another option that you can provide that again will make you more attractive because you provided the option versus just pushing somebody for a full replacement that maybe they're not quite ready for. And you might make out better in the long run if you get a repair now and in 3 years you get the replacement. So those are things I would also think about with urgency. Sometimes urgency is just giving people enough options to give them what they want, what they really are comfortable with in that moment.
Yeah, I just got a roof inspection and at first they didn't know if they're going to give me a repair option and then they gave me a repair option. And I was just like, I was talking it's my friend who owns the company, longtime client. And I literally was just like, to me, this makes it so much more credible. And also
Yeah.
like it's referrals, like just having that in there is referrals, whether you're small or big. I see some people try to skip that step. Like, I get
Yeah.
it. It's hard to have a repair division as a small roofing company, but when you can, if it's not you, because I also see guys that are 1.5 million that are crushing it. They go out and do the repairs themselves or
Yeah.
whatever. But when you can layer that on, it just creates credibility and referrals, crazy referrals. I mean, we
I
want
think
more
it's
replacements, but
invaluable.
repairs help it.
Every company that does not have a repair division set up, and that repair division could just be one person, right? You've
Yeah.
created a division. Anybody that has not done that in their business, that would be the first thing I would go out and figure out how to do, because it will pay dividends long term in terms of, number one, they can be profitable, right? There's this misconception that repairs can't be profitable, but number two, you're building up a client list at the end of the day.
Hmm.
So,
And I mean, some of your roofs might need a little repair every once in a while. You
hey,
know
you
what I mean?
know,
Like if you're in business long enough, like that's the thing. Like in the first 2 years, maybe hopefully not. But as time goes on, your own stuff, it's nice to have that around.
absolutely.
And we talk about building in value. I love the question, what is value? not to get philosophical here, but I really think about that question a lot. What is real value? Because the more value you provide, the more money you're going to get. And I want to increase my personal income. I want to increase my business's
Mhm.
income. So I want to provide as much value as possible. How can you, like with Atlas, how can you build in value if you're an Atlas contractor? What are the ways that you helped equip Atlas contractors to build in value to those products?
If you truly believe in what you're doing and you want to be the best version of yourself and you want to build a great organization, there's no other place to do that besides the Roofing Academy.
Value's really simple. If you can't answer this question, you have not tapped into value. Did I save that person time? Did I make that person money, or did I save that person money? If you can't say yes to one of those things, then you have not built value into it, right? Time and money. That's what value really is at its core. I'm sure that could be debated about other things, but I think that simplifies it to help think about it. So as Atlas, how can we help a contractor build value into their business? Okay, let's use Scotchgard, right? We have a partnership with 3M and Scotchgard. You go back to the feature benefit thing. Feature, it's a algae-resistant shingle system, okay, from 3M, right? And it's Scotchgard. There's a brand name there. The benefit, right? A brand you trust that's a lifetime warranty against ugly staining on the roof, okay? Okay, feature benefit. I hate those ugly stains up there. That's great. How do I get to value? Okay, how did I save the homeowner money? Okay, well, let me tell you how I'm going to save you money, Mrs. Smith, by putting on this really wonderful shingle system that I know is a little bit more expensive than my competitor that came in yesterday. Okay, if you ever decide you want to clean this roof, it could cost you upwards of $4,000. Okay, so I know my estimate is only about $1,000 more than the other guy, but I'm going to save you $4,000 when you need to clean this roof down the road. Now, if you don't think you'll ever pay the money to clean your roof, let me tell you something else. When you get ready to sell this home, okay, in 10 years, because you told me when your kids are out of the house, you're going to downgrade this into something smaller and you're going to want to sell this roof. If it's covered in black streaks and stains, you're probably going to have to reduce the price of your home, or you're going to get lowball offers because it has a roof that looks older than it really is. So I just added $10,000 of value back into your home.
So can we get
That's
scientific for one second? The 3M Scotchgard stuff on your guys' shingles, how does that really work? Like, I know you're not going to give me the formula on this podcast,
I'll
but
give you the formula. It's
yeah,
it's very, very simple. 3M specifies to us exactly what we have to do in our manufacturing process, and then they test our shingles every day at every plant. That's a fact. So we have to put their 3M Scotchgard copper granule on 10% of the covered area of the shingle that's exposed to the elements. So 10% of the little rocks that are on the shingle have to be their Scotchgard copper granule. And then we have to third-party test every day, so we punch out samples randomly at their specification and send them to a lab to get tested, or that day's production can't go out as Scotchgard. So it's really that simple. It's a high percentage of copper Scotchgard granules over the whole shingle and third-party tested daily. So
and that copper really keeps algae from growing.
yeah, and the copper basically, and a lot of people can visually, see this already, because if you ever see like pipe boots or copper sections of
Yeah.
roof, and underneath it looks clean, it's because that copper washes down and keeps that area clean. Algae just can't get started, so it prevents it from ever starting. It doesn't kill it, and that's why we do it on the whole shingle versus some people used to install zinc strips at the top of the roof line or something like that.
How does it keep like the black streaks off? Is that algae?
That's
Is that what
algae. Yeah.
Gotcha.
99% of what you would see on a roof that looked like some black or brown streak on the roof is a form of algae called Gliocapsa or a blue-green algae. And it just looks dark because it shades itself from the sun with sort of its own sunscreen, so to
Sure.
speak. Yeah.
If you're not using company canned, you're in the old ways. If you are taking pictures, you're going through extra steps of having to download them on a computer, having to email them out to people, show somebody, print them out, whatever it is. Company Cam has everything you want.
How does it not wash off the
So, yeah,
treatment?
great question. The granule itself is the mineral, the raw mineral coated with copper, and then it's got a ceramic porous coating over that, and it allows the copper to leach out of the ceramic coating slowly over a long period of time. So think like an Advil, 4-hour release capsule. It lets out medicine over time. It's the same thing with the granule.
Talk to me about how that, selling the 3M Scotchgard component of Atlas differs from other larger shingle brands. How does that compare, the 3M thing, selling that? Because no one cares about shingle brands.
Yeah,
How does the
that's a
3M
great question.
Scotchgard thing compare to
If you
that?
went and looked at all of our competitors, they all have some form of an algae warranty, right? And since we've really pushed Scotchgard over the years, a lot of them have upped their marketing, but their warranties really didn't change, right? And so, whether it's called Streak Fighter or algae resistance or stain guard or whatever it is, two things we would say to a contractor. One, look at the warranty, because ours is the only non-prorated lifetime warranty. And then the second, and theirs are anywhere from 10 to 15 years with proration. The second thing is the value of that brand. I firmly believe that a contractor should believe and should build a business that is brand agnostic, okay? Because they should be able to be successful in their business no matter what brand they decide to choose. Because you should choose a brand not just based on, oh, they have that great Scotchgard feature. It should be, is the rep responsive? Do I have easy access to that product in my market through distribution? Is it, priced affordably? All those things. It all comes in, right? But, I think that when you talk about brands in the home, we would argue the other big benefit of Scotchgard is it is the most well-recognized brand you could bring in the home, period. Because every homeowner in America for 70 years has been told Scotchgard from 3M protects against stains. And it's that simple, right? Because outside of roofing, Scotchgard's a huge brand name that's used on carpets and couches and furniture and vehicles.
It's a lot of marketing, right? Over 100 years.
Yeah.
So what stops us from ever getting there with a shingle? You know what I mean? Like whether it's you guys or another shingle brand, why is there not a household name? That's a confusing thing. What the hell?
I mean, it makes sense when you peel back the layer and say,
First of all, I do want to note that I agree. I agree that there's like literally every time I have to explain it when I mention even the biggest shingle brands to a friend that's not in the roofing industry. So
yeah, I mean, I think that it's sort of obvious when you peel the onion back and say, well, what is a household name, right? I'm looking around my basement. Coca-Cola is a household name because you buy it all the time and it's available in every convenience store. Kleenex is a household name because, again, when you use something often, that's what we mean when we say a household name. Most people will replace their roof one time in their life if they're lucky, right? So maybe twice, right? If you live in a really hail-prone area, you're still probably only replacing your roof every 10 years or so. So we don't commit those brands to any kind of memory or value. And, I think that it's really important to remember that because sometimes we get brainwashed in the industry of thinking, oh, those big well-known brands, that homeowners see them the same way. Well, we're exposed to GAF and Owens Corning and CertainTeed and Atlas and ICO and Tamco. So we know the who's who of roofing, and just because somebody has the biggest booth at the IRE doesn't mean that they're very well known in the home.
you guys had a pretty big booth. I'm just going to throw that out there. I walked by and there was it was a hype show. There was you were like on top of a truck, probably with some crazy outfit on, and I think you were giving away a truck.
Yes, we were.
That must have been fun.
It was very fun. Anytime you can give away a truck and see the look on somebody's face when they win a truck, it's honestly amazing.
Oh man, that'd be fun. So you think about I don't know. I kind of hope that maybe one day is a chance that these brands will be known. But I've seen billboards, but I've never seen TV commercials for a shingle. I guess we can't. There's a lot of this. There is a lot of this in the industry. At IRE at least. Man, there's
Yeah.
some events that went nuts. I'm like looking around,
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Damn, dude, I
There's
wish I
great
got." Yeah.
marketing happening, and more than ever. You're right, and I'm not
But
saying
it's
it'll
marketing
never
to
happen.
roofers. It's marketing to roofers. Like it makes sense to go there for
Yeah.
shingle brands, and that's why they think that's why they think these brands matter more, because the
Yes.
marketing is so intensely focused on them, and it's like my friend Chris Scoville calls it the Truman Bubble effect,
Yeah.
where it feels like it's so much more important than it is. I
Yeah,
think
well, it's
that's
your
probably
world, right? Like your world should be important to you, right? Like I
yes,
love what I do and I want to make it the best possible environment for my people
yeah,
in my company and my customers, right? So we want to invest in marketing and saying building materials is a great industry to be in. I start off every show I do, every speaking engagement I have by telling the room of people they are in the best possible industry they could
mhm,
have picked, right?
yeah,
Because we're resilient. We found out we were essential 3 years ago,
yeah.
right? Like roofing contracting, suppliers, manufacturers, we're essential. And so I think that's one of the things you have to continue to hammer into people's heads. And we have done a much better job
Yeah,
as an industry.
that's a great point. I've been kind of like pushing on this idea, like when I got into the roofing industry a few years ago. Maybe it's been longer than that. Man, time flies. But people would always tell me, like, how roofers have a bad reputation, and like I was hearing it from roofers, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I get it, but I'm not feeding into it. I'm over here. We are modernizing this industry. We have a major advantage
Yes.
because we are reputable. We have 5 stars on we got tons of 5-star reviews. We care. We've got great video testimonials. We're different, and like all my guys, my roofers are all different. We're
Yep.
creating the new reputation for roofing. I
Yes.
just like it's a little bit of an identity thing.
Yeah.
No, my kind of roofer is actually completely modernizing this industry and making homeowners think completely different. Like, and
Yeah.
honestly, might even surprise a homeowner. Yeah, because there is some weird expectations sometimes, negative expectations. But we're changing that, and I think
And it's changing
it's
even
important.
more in the
Yeah.
last few years because now these contracting companies have not only have access to fantastic marketing partners like you, but now they're being rolled up by private equity, and they're getting this insurgence of
Yeah.
money to go invest in process and brand and reputation and marketing, right? And then you
That
have
competition is gonna that competition if it's not you that gets rolled up, the competition with the roll up or with the
yeah.
franchise it's gonna put some heat. It's gonna put some heat on that modernization.
And it just creates a situation, in my opinion, where everybody really is forced to get better, right?
Yeah.
And I think we saw this in distribution starting about 15 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that. You had the ABC Supplies of the world buying Bradco. You had Beacon buying RSG. You had SRS buying everybody, right? So you had these big three consolidators out there, and through that process they started modernizing and investing in technology and things like that, and investing in process and their people, and all three of those companies have created more visibility for our industry. Think about it. ABC, you see him on the AJ Foyt race, right? The Indy racing. Beacon,
Mhm.
they're publicly traded, right? They make a lot of big splashes in terms of exposure for building materials. SRS, they sponsored a bowl game, the Las Vegas Bowl. I mean, first time ever to have a major building materials brand sponsoring a bowl game, right? So I think that exposure is also building credibility for our
Mhm.
industry as a powerhouse. So I think that it can happen over time, is that our brands become more credible with consumers. But at the end of the day, if you only buy something once in your lifetime, it has to be about you as a contractor, not about the Shingle brand.
Anything else that you can do to increase credibility in regards to? I mean, if it's not the shingle brand, if it's not awards or badges or anything like that, anything else that contractors can do to increase the credibility with like either third party validation, or how do you do that?
I think badges are important, right? But just remember, everybody can get those badges for the most part. We have some great badges, right? We have 3M Scotchgard training, where you can become, certified by 3M and Mike
Hmm.
Holmes, right, as a
Cool.
Holmes approved product. We have our Pro Plus program, where you can become a select contractor. all the big manufacturers have those badges,
Yeah.
and there's value in that, right? Because it shows that you care and you went through the effort, right? But just don't put too much value in that
Yeah.
over yourself, right? And then I think there's the usual suspects. You should really, I think your biggest badge is your online presence, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Are you taking care of your reviews? Are they genuine reviews? Are you responding to those reviews, right? Because people will read those comments. I do
You
all the
telling
time.
me that I can't just buy 50 of the same review that look like they're done by a
Yeah.
child?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a problem. As far as I know, I mean, I'm not really a guy,
People,
online guy.
I think people think that people are reading them. Like,
Oh, they read them. I read them. I
I
mean, I
read
don't know
every
about
single
you.
one half the time. Like, I'm crazy about it. Like, if it's like online culture is like the Amazon review, the comment on YouTube,
Oh
the
yeah.
discussion, and the weirder
Oh
the
yeah.
better. So you like I might sort by negative first to see how they
Yeah.
dealt with the negative.
Always.
Yeah. So like
Got it.
ultimately, you have it's not just the positive reviews. How did you respond to the negative reviews? All
Yes.
this stuff matters. It's being nice. Like I get it. This homeowner might have been dead wrong,
Yeah.
but being nice even when it's a negative review. So
And that is the biggest badge you've got is your
yeah,
online reputation, and whether or not your social media pages and your website actually look like a place that you care about. Because if you don't care about your online presence, how are you treating the rest of your business?
mm. Yeah, and I love this book, Selling the Invisible. It's basically like we can't, as a homeowner, we can't see on the roof and look at every crevice. Like, look at this valley; it's so well
Yeah.
done. We can't see it. All as we can see is what's visible. That's the polo, the logo, the truck,
Yep.
the website, and maybe like the somewhat. I know it's not clean, but some cleanliness around the job site. Like those are
Yeah.
the types of things that we can actually see. That's it. We can't see all
Think
those
about
nice
it.
details.
Think about all of the things that have happened to even make that more presentable.
Hmm.
You have these photo organization apps like Company Cam and all the CRM platforms give you the ability to organize all those photos and show the homeowner that
Yeah.
all the stuff going on the roof. That is urgency right there. I want to
Yeah.
show
Oh
you
yeah.
the problem as opposed to telling you about it.
Mm.
And then the job site cleanliness is part of the sales pitch, right? Here's how we take care of your job site, right? So if you're looking for ways to differentiate, just look around at your
Yeah.
competitors' dirty job sites. Just fix that, you know?
Yeah. I would definitely be a catch-all
Yeah.
customer to create, and I would brand it too. I'd brand it to my company. I would have I'd brand the company cam thing too. I would,
Oh yeah.
I'd call
Yeah.
it what, our photo sharing. I'd brand it to the whatever the logo was. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, and people don't know because like I'm marketing, right? And I
Hmm.
feel like you're marketing brain too. But like it goes back. Like think about Mad Men. They say it's toasted, right?
Yeah.
All my competitors have company cam. Yeah, but they're not talking about it that often. Like
That's right.
you can
How you
create.
use
Yeah,
something has way more benefit to your differentiation than just doing it, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah, everybody can do a lot of things. Everybody can buy my product. Not everybody actually takes advantage of the value that that product brings, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you being on today.
It was
What
great. Great
what
conversation.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much. Any other call to actions? I know that this will go out in the next couple weeks if you have a
Yeah.
couple of the events you want to talk about or
Yeah, we've got a great event series. We'd love to connect with you, and then in your local market, we're going to be in 10 cities this year. We've got a couple under our belt, but go to atlasroofing.com/events if you want to just find out more about Atlas, but also get exposed to some of our fantastic partners. So it's not all an Atlas show either, right? We have Derek Klein from Hail Trace and Jim Johnson with Contractor Coach Pro, along with a bunch of other great partners. And Tim, we're going to get you out to a few of these events as well.
I would love to be in.
We really, really, we love hearing from contractors, whether you're using our product or not. And it's always good to go out and just get exposed to new ideas, right? Because that can, even just being at an event and picking up one thing can change your business. So,
And I'll throw it. I was at the one. Those are free. Those
yeah,
are free. That's crazy. That's like a badass event for free. Like, not only does it have good speakers, like legit people that like are at the paid events. Um, it was also like gamified. You like there's
oh,
two
yeah,
teams and they're
oh,
like
yeah,
competing and there's giveaways and stuff like that, and there's food. There's good food and
Good food.
drinks
We
and
got a
stuff.
happy hour. Every
The heck,
event's got a
dude.
cool location, man, and we're giving away a lot of really cool stuff
Yeah.
at these events. So tens of thousands of dollars of prizes at every event. So
Basically, very generous and fun. Like it's and
try
like
to
one of
keep
the
it
things.
fun, man.
Bring out your people too. Like it's just nice to be able to go to these events, especially if it's in your city. It
Yes.
feels good. It feels good to go to these events, and if this one's free and it's actually really good, that's awesome. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Podcast is put on by hookagency.com. Hook Agency all over social, and I hope you have a good week. Bye.
Peace, guys.